G'day everyone, we're on the couch here with David Mainwaring, who finished third overall at Challenge Gold Coast in the weekend. This couch is situated at South Coast Runners in Wollongong, where David works when he's not training. So David, in the weekend, you had a pretty good race, and I think you possibly surprised a few people, although some of us knew you were running fairly well. But that was a race that was probably designed for you. The shortened bike might have played into your hands as well, along with a bit of climbing. How did the race unfold, and how did you think you would go in the weekend?
Well, yeah, knowing I haven't trained that much, done many Ks, so the shortened bike definitely helped me. But aimed at Gold Coast for just to have a hit out, and with the hills, that I love climbing hills, so that's the main reason I went out there. And everyone kind of knows now the weather conditions were shocking leading up to the race, so that caused the shortened bike, which I was quite happy about in a way because I hadn't done the Ks. So come race morning I was pretty confident, but you never know, first race of the season, and swam alright for this time of year and got out of the swim about a bit over a minute down on Superfish Shane Barry, and then went on to start riding and it was quite slippery out there, and rode quite well up to the lead pack, which I later found out Reedy and Appo and Munro was long gone. They just rode off on another level, with Casey getting a flat later. And a few of the boys were a bit cautious on the corners and that, so that made a gap of four of us, of PJ, Robbo and Nicholas Hull and myself, and the first two guys were gone, and then I was feeling pretty confident about my running ability, so I just saved it for the run in the last couple of Ks of the bike and went off from there and ran pretty strongly, which I was happy about, and was quite surprised actually how well I ran, even though it was a shortened bike, but felt really comfortable throughout the whole run.
Yeah, with the wet conditions on the road at Gold Coast, I did hear from a couple of guys that you were cornering a lot better than some of the guys riding there, and there was only, as you say, only three guys that were really comfortable, riding hard in those conditions. Is that something? I know you've done a lot of cycling. I know you love hill climbing, and I know that you're a bit of a demon when it comes to going downhill as well when you're out training and riding. So I think, did that play into your hands as well?
Yeah, definitely. I guess growing up I've done a fair bit of crit racing and everything, and you notice the difference between triathletes and cycling bike riders, professional bike riders, and the way they corner, you have to put it on the edge a bit. So I wasn't taking any risk at all, but I love racing in the rain as well, so I don't know what about it is. I'm not scared of crashing or anything, but yeah, I just like cornering, and it's just something you get used to in practice. Practicing makes perfect, so if you don't corner in the wet in training and don't do a little bit of risk in training, you're never going to be able to do it in a race.
Mm. And with you mentioned earlier too, you did come out of the swim. You're sort of off the back of the lead pack in the swim, which included PJ and the likes. So where are you at with your swimming right now, and who are you training with? Where are you training?
Training at URAC currently.
Which is at University of Wollongong?
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah, where a lot of the guys swim, and there's a lot of, but at the moment just been swimming with Matthew Pello and James Davey when he's in Wollongong. I'll look at joining a squad soon when it gets a bit warmer, but at the moment just been swimming 4 or 5 times a week, just trying to build a little bit of a base before start swimming a lot more before the peak season of the racing. Still need to pick up that swim, so not chasing on the bike for the first part of the bike, which will hopefully help in the long run.
Yeah, the pool at URAC has quite a few really good swimmers, as we just discovered earlier during the filming of this. Multiple gold medalist Emma McKeon just walked in to the shop, and I asked her what she did for a sport. So people like that's who's trains at URAC. So would you, I mean, obviously they're at a different level, those swimmers, but what sort of squad would you join?
I'll look at joining the surf squad probably. Either there's one at Dapto and there was one at Urac.
Right.
But yeah, a couple of the boys like Dave McKean, who used to train here, and Jared Port, who's also an Australian swimmer, they're just on another level in the pool. Their warm up is pretty much your effort, so no use swimming with those boys.
Yeah. Seen your results at the Sydney 10K, Sutherland to Surf recently, and a few local races too. You've been doing some really good times. How's your running going where you're at, and how much improvement do you feel you've got?
Yeah, well, I love doing running races because that's what I grew up originally doing. I've got a lot of improvements still in my running. I'm actually surprised how well I'm running. Haven't really started doing any real quality sessions yet. So to be running sub 31 already for this time of year is quite pleasing. I just love doing running races, going back to scratch. Don't have to bring a bike or swimming gear, and it's just I love racing against the good runners and trying to push yourself that little bit more, bringing that leg speed, and hopefully that transfers over to the triathlon.
I mean, at Gold Coast on the weekend, you did post the fastest run of the day, officially 1:14.04, I think. How did that run go? How did you feel? And we've seen some blisters that you had too.
Yeah, the run felt quite good and solid. It's quite a tricky course because it's flat-ish, but there's so many little turns, you lose all your rhythm and everything. And there was a fairly crowded course, being only a 40k bike, so there's a lot more people on the course than normal. Yeah, the blisters were a bit due to, there was a couple of big puddles out there, and when every second counts up in the pros, it's just running straight through them. And going from wet to dry to wet again, it started blistering. But I guess the good thing was on my forefoot of my foot, so it means I was still running on my toes coming into the last couple of Ks, so that was quite pleasing in a way, even though it was starting to hurt.
Yeah, and you mentioned you haven't done what you'd call quality sessions yet for your run program. So what are some quality sessions that you'll be looking at doing to pick up some more run speed?
Yeah, well, I guess the stock standard favourite session would be doing 6 or 8 1Ks, depending on what I'm aiming for the session. Usually I'd go on the 4-minute cycle, and if I'm looking for some run speed, I'd try average under 3 minutes per them. And then if I'm looking for a bit more stamina, I'd looking at probably doing some 3K efforts, still running quicker than race pace, but I like to still try to run them on around the 9:3:10 pace and descend from there and go from there.
Yeah, okay. And what are you running in currently, shoe-wise?
Currently, my favourite trainers, I run in Mizuno's, and favourite training shoes would be Riders, and my race shoes are Hitagamis, which I love, so wide and so a fair bit of cushioning, which I kind of needed for that half marathon. This seems to be the perfect shoe for light versus cushioning. Yeah,
I've noticed quite a few people wearing those Hitagamis around at the moment, so they're obviously a good shoe and working well. So what else? What have you got coming up?
I'll look at going into a proper training block in the next 4 or 5 weeks, and then aim for Port Macquarie, which I had last year race and did 2 out of 3 legs well. Just the run absolutely folded in 2k into the run, which wasn't very pleasant. But so hopefully go back and redeem myself a bit there, and then look at racing. Have to decide which of the November races to do when there's so many to choose from nowadays. It's a bit annoying that they're all crowded together, but I guess you got to pick and choose now.
Yeah. There does seem to be a big clump of races around that time of year in Australia. So we've just had Matthew Pello walk into the shop, go straight to the lolly jar, and build his calories up for his next session.
Yeah, Pello and his lollies.
Yeah. Green Edge. Who's your lolly sponsor?
Natural confectioner.
Okay.
Low fat.
Can't help pick.
So that just about wraps it up, David. Thanks very much for spending 5 or 10 minutes with us, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, no problems. Enjoyed it.